Today on Locked On Rockies. This series, the Rockies have been outscored 24-3.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
We're Rock On Rockies fans. Welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 10th day of April in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day. Free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show like so many of you are. I can always tell when the Rockies game doesn't go very well, because boy, do the Locked On Rockies fans come out and start commenting here with their thoughts, comments, and what's going on with their Rockies fandom here. Spoiler alert, not a lot of happy Rockies fans right now. And how could you be? I mean, there's what is there to celebrate right now for the Colorado Rockies outside of the debuts of two young guys? I mean, this homestand, this opening homestand has just been awful, plain and simple. I mean, it's not that the Rockies aren't even. It's not that they're bad. It's not that they're this. It's just they seem so far behind. Plain and simple. They just seem so far behind the rest of baseball, and that includes the worst teams. I mean, this season, this start, I mean, just to where the Rockies are at. I mean, this is just, it's painful. I mean, this tying, it's got to be probably the worst start now since they've only won. I mean, this has got to be the worst start in franchise history, or at least close to it. I know they were tied with it. But like, where do we want to go with yesterday's game? Errors, huge amount of runs given up, offense non-existent. I mean, how many times? What more do you guys want me to hear? Do you want me to hear just the same things again? But this is what we, as Rockies fans, and maybe before, it's like I maybe I was totally wrong. Maybe this year, as I was last year, maybe I'm going to go 2 for 2 and being horribly wrong about my predictions about the Colorado Rockies. I felt that this team wasn't going to be a great team, and there's still plenty of baseball left for them to turn it around. It is technically early, but again, we've done the same conversation before. Yes, it's early, but the Rockies are about to go. There is a chance here. There's a chance that the Rockies are 2-15. If they lose today, if they get swept by San Diego, and if the Dodgers handle them, the Rockies can be 2-15. Is it going to inspire any change? Is there going to be anything different? Is there going to be any? Is there going to be accountability for anybody in the front office? Probably not. Probably not. We mentioned this, and some folks mentioned this. There's another team in Denver, won a championship recently, in a good playoff seed, been successful, has the best player on the planet, and they fired him. They also fired the GM, too. Now, confusing move. I'm not a basketball guy. To be totally honest, if you're curious how I feel about the Mike Malone firing for the Denver Nuggets, not a big fan of firing Malone right now. I think there was change in the air coming for the Denver Nuggets with the way this season went and with everything. But that's an organization that understands that their window and where they're at is open now, and that they need to do something. And again, maybe this move is still kind of surprising, and I don't necessarily know how it helps them capitalize on this season in particular. But it was a tough call made by an organization that was surprising. And there's a million reasons and things to look at it, right? But yet again, the spotlight gets shown back onto the Colorado Rockies and says, what is so different about your organization, your people, and your things in there that you're so confident that this group is the ones that are going to get it done? They're going to change things. They're going to bring the new mentality. They're going to bring about whatever. They're going to develop your players because the track record hasn't been all that great. The thing that was most surprising and crazy about the Denver Nuggets was the fact that Mike Malone was a championship coach, the longest tenured coach and winningest coach in Nuggets history, and they were still fighting for a pretty solid spot in the playoffs. Now, with how close the West is, any loss in the what was it, 5-game losing streak that they went on, 4-game, totally torpedoed where they were at. But you can't imagine the Rockies making that decision. Right? Like you can't imagine that Bud Black gets fired in the middle of this season, right? There's just, I just don't fathom that happening. Remember, we've heard that Bill Schmidt and the Rockies have an open door for Bud Black and this coaching staff right now. Maybe it's not for the whole coaching staff, but just Bud Black. And I know I keep circling back onto this, but again, it's just like, okay, you just got blown out by the Brewers. You've had the 2 worst seasons in franchise history. You followed that up with the worst start in franchise history after following up last year with the worst start in franchise history, with the most amount of games trailed, with being in the bottom of the NL West, with cutting payroll, with doing this. Why should you watch the Colorado Rockies? I'll be honest with you, folks. I turned off the game yesterday. When I turned off the game yesterday, the Brewers score. After I turned off the game yesterday, the Brewers scored 5 more runs. I have no idea how runs 13 through 17 happened for the Brewers yesterday because I was done. Flat out done. I don't care. I get paid to do this. I'll get the box score. What more analysis do I need to know other than the Rockies are so far behind the 8 ball? The Rockies are so far behind the rest of baseball. What analysis do you need from me? The Rockies just got routed 17-2. The Rockies have been outscored 24-3 in 2 games, 24-3 at home. And at home, in which a ballpark was very empty, except for loud cheers for the opposition. That's the state of the Colorado Rockies right now. There's nothing I can sit here and dive into advanced analytics or dive into this or say, oh, look at this. Hey, Ryan McMahon, which, by the way, great swing from Ryan McMahon. Ryan McMahon, I think, quietly having a pretty good start. I actually did like the lineup construction yesterday of dropping Bryant back down and some of these guys down to get some things figured up in the bottom of the lineup. I actually thought that lineup construction was a pretty good idea, but it doesn't matter. Who cares? The optimism, the trying to just to fake optimism about stuff right now is very difficult for the Rockies. There are things that are exciting and things to be optimistic about, but they haven't performed this year. I mean, this start has been atrocious. If the Rockies are down 3 runs, I count them out. Done. See ya. They're not going to come back. They're not going to win. This is now. Again, let me get back here to the schedule here. Let me bring this up here as I'm bringing. Hold on, nope, I don't want that one. Sorry. This is now out of all of the games they've played 11 games. The Rockies have scored more than 4 runs once. If you're going by 4 runs, they have scored at least 4 runs 3 times. Other times, it's 2 runs. It's 1 run. It's anemic. It's nothing. They're not getting anything going. They're lost at the plate. They're striking out. There is no confidence in this Rockies team. And there's no confidence being given to them by their organization. You're a draft and develop team. It's time to start showing it because this is supposed to be the part where we're ricocheting and going up. And instead, the Rockies are digging a hole deeper and deeper and deeper. And you get other fans from other teams coming out and say this: you might be worse than the White Sox. For real, crazy to think. You want to know what the White Sox record is right now? Also 2-9. But this is a team that's supposed to be, that's a team that's straight up cursed. That's a trade. I'm not even going to sit here and say I'm abundantly confident that the Rockies aren't worse than the White Sox right now. I do believe at its core that the Rockies are a better team than the White Sox. I do believe at its core that the Rockies are not the worst team in baseball. But what have we shown? What has been shown to us to prove the contrary? What is the impact of another awful start to the season? What is the impact of another long series of losing? There is an impact on the guys and frustration, sure, but as an organization, when will you start having consequences and holding people accountable for their lack of performance? Players, front office, top down. And it's the tough part of running a business. It's the tough part about running a team. It hurts some folks. It's painful. People, there are things that you aren't going to like. But again, the Rockies aren't interested in winning. They are interested in maintaining their status quo. They're interested in sticking with their guys and sticking with their plans and sticking with their philosophies because they've tried everything else and nothing's going to work. Nothing can possibly help from an outside perspective. No. Everything. They've tried everything. We've heard that. They've done it all. 2-9. Same record as the White Sox. With a schedule where you'll end up being worse than the White Sox. Remember, Brewers, into Padres, into Dodgers. Then you think, there'd be a break after that. No. You get the Washington Nationals, who always play the Rockies well. You get Kansas City, the playoff team. And then you finally get a break at the end of April with the Cincinnati Reds. But dang, those Cincinnati Reds, they just went to San Francisco and won 2 out of 3 and almost swept the Giants if it wasn't for a walk-off. I don't see a single series I'm confident in the Rockies winning until Monday, June 2nd. And that's against Miami. There's a world where the Rockies don't win a series until June. There's a world where the Rockies don't win a series all year. I mean, you just look at this. You look at the schedule. Maybe they'll get that series win against the White Sox in July, a month after their possibility against the Marlins. But I just look at the schedule, and I'm just ready for these long stretch of red L's here to build. We talked about avoiding long losing streaks. We talked about snapping that habit. Well, it's clearly not the case this year. 6-game skid, broken up by a win. 2-game skid, good chance that could be increasing. Like I said, I don't know. I really don't have much deep stuff for you today. I really don't. To be totally honest, this is an episode in which this is an episode in which I understand totally when people ask me, why do you watch the Rockies? Why do you care about the Rockies? Why are you a Rockies fan? These are the type of moments, these are the type of stretches that make it tough because I really don't know what the Rockies are going to do to rebound from this. I'm not confident that this team has the tools and the know-how to turn this around. I mean, shoot. The Rockies aren't going to sniff 500 for the entire year. It doesn't matter, though. Bring them all back. Same team, same lineup, same roster, same organization. It's all water on the bridge for them. They don't care. I want to talk about one thing that's a little more serious, though, and at least make it a little bit more on the let's calm down side is Tovar and Doyle. Unfortunately, the defense has had some issues. Of course, especially yesterday where those guys, multiple errors there, multiple problems. So the question is it time to panic about the defense? I'm just going to give you a little spoiler. I'm not ready to do that quite yet. I'll explain why coming up next on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes Just Ingredients. When it comes to feeling your body, quality matters. That's why Just Ingredients is changing the game with clean, high-quality products designed to support better health and peak performance. Just Ingredients offers an NSF-certified line of protein powder, electrolytes, pre-workout, and creatine, all rigorously tested to ensure they're free from substances banned by major athletic organizations Just Ingredients is also partnered with two-time MVP Bryce Harper, who trusts their NSF-certified sports line to fuel his training and recovery. I like the pre-workout that tastes like strawberry lemonade because it's super easy, super simple, gets me ready to go for my workout. And the protein shake, I'm real tricky. I'm real difficult when it comes to my flavors and how things taste when it comes to those type of things. Well, the best part is Just Ingredients makes a great tasting protein powder and protein shake for after your workout, and it's grass-fed whey protein and pre-workout deliver real results. Visit justingredients.us. That's justingredients.us and use code LOCKEDONMLB for 20% off. And for more wellness tips, follow at just.ingredients on Instagram, but don't miss out on 20% off your order with the code LOCKEDONMLB at justingredients.us. Back at it here at Locked On Rockies here. Thanking you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk. Here's some of the thoughts from the Locked On Rockies faithful out there. Yes, we the fans hope that players get better year over year, but for the team's management, this hope appears to be their strategy, and hope is not a strategy. Many wondered, myself included, why a new hitting coach wasn't brought in, and unfortunately, early returns are that it's the same old at the plate. 17-2 aside, how many more quality starts from our pitchers are going to be wasted this season with high strikeout and low home run and walk games at the plate? Rock's ownership's lack of ability to pivot to new coaches, as well as their seemingly inability to embrace analytics, although it's hard to with the smallest analytics shop in baseball, continue to put their fans behind the eight ball. TK says 17-2, LOL, and Buddy will still be sitting against the railing the next game with his usual zero emotion. Paul, keep fighting a good fight. I'm checking out of the season until Buddy is fired, so hopefully I can comment again this season. And, it's tough, man. It's tough in this situation because it's weird to call for people's jobs. It's weird to say that people should be fired. It's weird to do this. Sports is really one of the only areas that we are comfortable doing this. And again, I'm sitting here talking about stuff that I myself am not experienced in any way, shape, or form. And I own up to that. But I don't think it's that crazy to be asking for change at this point when we've gotten here. When we've had the last two seasons. It's not as if there hasn't been opportunities granted to the people that are running the show and people calling the shots for the Colorado Rockies. It's not like that hasn't been the case. I do like to at least not acknowledge the kind of the icky feeling that I feel calling for it, but it's just like, if you underperform in the professional world, there's consequences usually. But instead, we just keep being and it's different than, being a CEO or being at your normal day job than baseball. I mean, we're fans. We root for this team. We have an interest in this team. It's not like we're out here sitting like, yeah, go Best Buy, or Target, yeah. It's just like, I think the question goes back to it. It's like, all right, instead of maybe thinking that, but are the Colorado Rockies worth your time right now? Are they worth your money right now? For the diehards, for people like myself, it's always going to be there. It's a huge part of the life, but it's not surprising to me to see the ballpark that empty. I understand it's early April. I understand school's not out. I understand all that stuff. But what have the Rockies done over the last 3 years to really make you say, yes, I am confident. I love the team. I love the direction. I love the people in charge. I love the moves. I love everything. I think that's just a bigger thing. And until they demonstrate their ability to adapt and change, I just don't know how worth it the Rockies are for your time. Not when you got the Nuggets fighting for a playoff spot. Not when you got the Avalanche with possibly getting their big captain back in Gabe Landeskog before the playoffs. Not when you got an exciting training camp. Broncos training camp, no pads, no nothing, is going to be more relevant, more important, and dominate more airwaves than the Colorado Rockies, the professional baseball team that's in season now. Sucks, man. Today's just a day where it's where I do the show and I don't have it's just, this is frustrated fan. This is what analysis do we need from another ass whooping by the opposition? And it was appropriate to curse there. All right, let me actually, you know what time is it? I got a little off there. I got a little off topic of what I said. So let me bring up, let's bring this sucker to a close with some positivity here by highlighting the fact I'm not worried about Tovar and Doyle's defense. Listen, I think that there's a ton of pressure on them this year. I think there's a ton of pressure and a ton of frustration and a ton of emotions right now within that clubhouse. I think yesterday was abundantly clear. I think that it's starting to spill over. Like you said, you heard Goodman talk about it on the broadcast where Ryan McMahon hits the home run, doesn't really care. I mean, he blasts that ball, but he knows he's down 5-1 on a team that is completely scuffled out the gates. So we know the Rockies are frustrated, and it's frustrating to see the Rockies studs and the Gold Glovers make the mistakes that they are. But when things are not going as well as when things are going as poorly as they're going right now, when the start has been this bad, when the stretch has been this long of frustrating and tough baseball, it's going to wear on you. And it's going to wear on those guys because Tovar and Doyle believe that they are, or at least I believe that they are the ones that are the conductors of the rebound train. And so when they slip up, when they have the mistakes, when they can't make the big plays, you see how big of an impact it has on the Rockies. You see how many extra opportunities teams can get. But I've seen both of those guys make unbelievable plays. I've seen both of those guys go through full seasons. I've seen both of those guys make adjustments. I think we're going to be okay. Because here's the deal. If this early stretch and everything costs them a Gold Glove down the line or their next award, I don't necessarily really care about Gold Glove awards at this point. I just want them to bounce back and be the rock that we need them to be the rocks that we need them to be. And Doyle has certainly made a couple of, we've seen the defense flashing a couple of times this season, certainly. And we've seen Doyle be successful at the dish. Tovar a little slow, but a couple of doubles and stuff still as well. There's still time for these guys to be successful. And I think still time for these guys to be great. The problem is I don't have the same confidence with the rest of the roster. I don't have confidence in the veteran people that make up the middle part of the order. I don't have confidence in this offense to start turning things around. I don't have confidence that there is actually a big momentum changer here. If Zach Veen breaks out, sure, that might be it. But I still don't think across the board it's enough. The Rockies are in big trouble right now. Big trouble. But I don't. But in terms of my concerns and my level of concerns and things I'm worried about, Brenton Doyle and Ezequiel Tovar's defense is not at the top. Of course, there have been issues, but I'm still very confident, very confident in those two and their abilities to be game changers for the Rockies. All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, wrap up the show for today, a couple of closing thoughts, and we'll read a little bit more from the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. That's coming up on today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are almost here, and FanDuel is giving new customers an incredible way to get in on the action right now. Yes, right now. When you join FanDuel and place your first $5 bet, you'll get $250 in bonus bets back if your bet wins. So it's got to win That's the only difference maker there. But you could, it's just, you put it on something easy, put it on something simple. Why not get those $250 in bonus bets with something that you're confident is going to hit? FanDuel makes betting so easy, whether it's picking your favorite team or diving into player props, from 3-pointers to steals to assists. FanDuel has so many ways to bet your favorite player props. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same game parlay for a chance to win big. It's not just NBA action. They got plenty of other sports as well. So if you want, maybe you're firing up the Nuggets and the Rockies at once, well, you can see all the action for yourself on FanDuel on the super easy to use and secure FanDuel app. Don't miss out. Head to FanDuel.com and claim your $250 in bonus bets today after placing your first $5 bet. That wins, of course. Head to FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Locked on Rockies here. Final segment of the day. Wrapping things up. Man, I hate doing shows like this sometimes. Well, no, I hate doing shows like this because it's boring. It's whiny. It's just for the rant. The people that don't like when I rant, I'm ranting, but like, I just don't even know what to really say at this point. I don't know what the I don't know what the keen observation should be. I don't know what the hot take should be that really will open, or not open, but change minds, change perspectives, because really at this stage, all I have left is to throw my hands up and just say, like, well, it's the bed you made. It's the bed you believe in. It's the bed you back up. It's the lip service we've heard time and time again about how things are in the right direction, how things are going well, how we have the right people, yada, yada, yada. We saw what happens when Senzatella isn't sharp. We saw what can happen to Senzatella at Coors Field. We saw the cracks in the Rockies here so far this series, and just be blown out at home in just about every game. Such a shame. The homie Milo says, definitely need the bats to get going and get that confidence going. That's true. I mean, confidence is needed in many ways. Jim says, I don't know what to say at this point. I'm still hoping for a real breakout from this team. Tell us how you really feel, Paul. I'm trying to. Bill says they have a habit of not letting the young players just play and get into a rhythm. Last year was Goodman. Finally, at the end of the year, he saw regular time, mostly a catcher, and he produced. Same with this year. This year, they're going to do the same thing with Beck. Put Beck, Doyle, and Veen in the outfield and let them play. RK says, boring is the best way to describe the Rockies. There's basically zero redeeming qualities on the team. They strike out a lot, and when they don't strike out, they hit ground balls. Say what you will about the struggles of the team during the Blake Street Bombers era because of the pitching staff, but those teams were at least super fun to watch. Evan says the Rockies are the mud when talking about the Rockies being stuck in the mud. Let's see. Anybody else? I think we got everybody. Luxace was appreciating the kind words after getting the autograph from Veen, and got demolished by the Brewers and then play the Padres and Dodgers next. I just can't with this team. I think that's a pretty universal statement right now. Like I said, I think now's the time to ask if the Colorado Rockies are worth your time. As much as hey, please keep watching the show and tuning in and listening. But I mean, I don't think I'm going to do a very good job of convincing you that the Rockies are worth your time. They have to do that. The team has to do that. The performance has to do that. A guy that rants and raves into a microphone from his home office, I'm not going to move the needle too much for you on the Rockies, I don't think. But I think that is my point. It's okay to turn the Rockies off. It's okay to not watch the game. It's okay to skip them. Hey, if you want to go to the game, you want to enjoy it, you're going to watch, you're going to tune in all the time like myself, that's okay too. But I don't think it's that crazy of a question to ask yourself if the Colorado Rockies are worth your time. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. We're free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Crossover with Locked On Padres, my boy Javi, coming up tomorrow. That's always a fun time. So we'll bring a little energy, a little more fun. Sorry to be such a downer today, but I don't really know how else to be after you're blown out 17-2 at home and have been outscored 23-4 or whatever I said it was earlier. I don't really care enough to re-look it up. Blown out, lot to not a lot. Again, thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. For your second listen, go check out Locked On MLB with our guy Sully. If you need more Colorado sports coverage, like I said, including the absolute bonkers news that came out from the Denver Nuggets here. Locked On Nuggets, Locked On Broncos, Locked On Avalanche, Locked On Buffs. They got you covered, keeping you covered here when it comes to Colorado sports. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.